Go with some of these guards out here because one of the people that you're hearing a lot about is Jaden Ivey out of Purdue. A lot of people like him. They think about him at 4, but obviously you think about the Kings and you see the fact that they've got, Mitchell and, of course, De'Aaron Fox there. You say, no, you're in Detroit. Cade Cunningham is their guy, so likelihood the best spot for him is at number 6 with Indiana. Talk to me about Ivey out of Purdue and what the belief is about him. A lot of people seem to be really high on him.
Yeah, Stephen, and I'm one of those that's really high on him. In other draft years, he'd be a top 3 pick, and I think he's almost a no-brainer at number 4. I wouldn't fail to pick that kind of talent because of a need issue, or you've got somebody like him. I asked the Portland Trailblazers in 1984 when they had Clyde Drexler if passing on Jordan was the right thing. But Ivey he reminds me a little bit of Ja Morant with his speed and explosiveness. He's got that kind of speed and explosiveness. He's a shot creator. He can knock down threes. But he needs to be a better defender. I think he can be much better on that end. But he's also got the length of a guy like Dwayne Wade. Now, he's not as powerful as Wade, but he's an above-the-rim finisher. But in today's NBA, he's going to be a blur up and down the floor. He just glides. But the one thing, I do think he needs to make a big jump on the defensive end because with that athleticism and speed, he's capable of impacting the game more on defense than he did at Purdue.
Now, ain't no way in hell you're going to be on this show with me. And I'm not going to bring up the New York Knicks. I mean, I know they're not in the top 10. They're the 11th pick. But, damn it, that's where my concern lies, and I'm unapologetic about it. I'm thinking, listen, I'm hearing about this kid, Ty Washington, out of Kentucky. Obviously, I like this kid, Mark Williams. I mean, I know you got mentioned it, but I like Mark Williams in this potential, even though I think he'll probably end up in Chicago. Talk to me about Ty Washington in case the New York Knicks end up taking him out of Kentucky. Should I be happy with that, Jay Bilas?
Not at 11. I wouldn't be happy with it there. I mean, the Knicks could trade up. You could see them do that and get a higher quality prospect. But Ty Washington's a really good player. And given how Tyrese Maxey and Emmanuel Quickley did coming out of Kentucky, that's got to make people feel a little bit better about Washington. Washington has got a really good middle game. He shot 52% on his runners and floaters. When their point guard, Xavier Wheeler, went out, he came in and took over the point and immediately set a record for assists in a game. He had 17 assists, broke John Wall's single-game assist record at Kentucky. So he can handle it. He's got three-point range. Now, I wouldn't call him a great shooter, but he can knock down threes. And he's obviously a good passer. The one thing, Stephen A., about Ty is, we talk about some of these players that played. Johnny Davis of Wisconsin played his best in the biggest games. Averaged 25 points a game against top 25 competition. Against the best teams that Kentucky played, Ty did not play his best. He averaged under 10 points a game, 35% from the field, 22% from three. Is that a disqualifying factor? No, but it's a note to make. I have Washington more in the 15 to 20 range. I think there are better players, better prospects, I should say, where the Knicks will be drafting. And certainly if they trade up, he wouldn't be a possibility there. But your point about Mark Williams is good. I think that's where I had Williams slotted is like 10 to 12 because he's a big-time shot blocker, rim runner, and he shoots like 74% from the free throw line. He's the only guy in the country that shot 70% from the field, which with all the dunks he has, you'd expect. But shooting over 70% from the foul line indicates that he may be able to stretch that range out a little bit more as he matures.
Last question for you. Who's the sleeper in this draft? Who's the guy that we should be talking about a hell of a lot more than we have been talking about leading into this draft tonight?
There are a few of them that a couple have already been identified, like Shaedon Sharpe at Kentucky, who didn't play this last year. He reclassed. Dyson Daniels out of the G League. Is a great defender, excellent passer, just sort of built for the NBA. One guy I would point out is Malaki Branham from Ohio State. He is just a freshman, went to the same high school as LeBron James, St. Vincent St. Mary. He was Ohio High School Player of the Year. Last 10, 11 games at Ohio State, he averaged about 20 points per game, shot 55% from the field. He's a very talented player that I think we could look back in this draft and say, how was he taken number 20 when he should have been taken in the top 10?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.